Welcome. My name is Kepra, and thank you for tuning in once again to my YouTube channel. This will be episode 1. We've done episodes in the past, but with this episode and episodes that will follow they will be numbered. So, welcome to my first episode. Thank you for tuning in. Again, excuse my attire or lack thereof. We're in the middle of August. I don't have air conditioning in my house. So I want to be comfortable as possible as I do this video. So let's get into it. First and foremost, before I get into it, I want to definitely pay our respects and send our condolences to the loved ones of Dr. Sebi. Really quickly, Dr. Sebi certainly was an inspiration. He definitely devoted his life to health and healing. His unique approach, at least definitely at the time in the 80s here in the U.S., was revolutionary. One of the things I'll mention is that, especially in the African American Black community, at that time, specifically in the 80s, Sebi's message was one of no soy, no carrots, and no colonics. And, definitely, at that time, that definitely raised question, controversy, with definitely the leaders of that. Everybody was probably eating soy, was definitely drinking carrot juices, and also getting colonics. So, not to say that his way was the best way, or any way is the best way, but it definitely, in terms of the results he was able to get, with many, probably thousands of people, celebrities and such, it's one that, for me, being a foodie, being a chef, being a leader and a healer, was one that I not only had to pay attention to, but I had to adopt to some extent. So rest in peace, Dr. Sebi. You will be missed, but your legacy, your legend, your impact will live on. Rest in peace. Yes, so it's fitting today that, just speaking of Dr. Sebi, of our topic today. Our topic is going to be about naturopathy. And the question is, should you have a naturopath? Should you go to a naturopath regularly? Or should you go to a naturopath if you're facing a terminal illness like cancer? So after today's video, I hope that you are closer, wherever you may be, to this will give you some insight. And if you're currently going to one, how you can better use that resource. Because the question is not obviously a simple one. It's not a simple yes or no. And certainly not all naturopaths are created equally. But let's get into it. Should you go to a naturopath, or should you, what is that? Let's start there. What is naturopathy? Well, just in a layman's sense, I look at the word naturopath is one that, if you go to a naturopath or naturopathic doctor, they should put you on nature's path or the natural path. I can definitely say that that not everyone who claims to be a naturopathic doctor is one that is aligned with the true natural path. So that's the first thing you have to ask yourself with a naturopathic doctor. And I've, thinking about this, it's going to first, when we ask the question, the first thing we got to look at is where you are. What is your history? What are your goals? Because then that is going to now correlate with the direction you want to go in terms of your health and your healing, whether you're dealing with something terminal, whether you're dealing with something not necessarily fatal but serious. So so we have to start there. You know, your age is going to be a factor. Your health history is going to definitely be a factor, and then also your goals. And I say that because I had a client last year who was going to a naturopathic doctor that I'm good friends with, who one of the things that he put her on was a raw food diet for a 30-day period. And again, her goal was simply to, you know, in terms of her levels, you know, these metrics that when you go in and they measure certain things, we're all familiar with them. Her things were showing that basically, you know, her organ function, some of her organs were not in a healthy state, and just, you know, basically she was doing good by willing to go that far, but her goal was not to become a raw food eater by no stretch of the imagination. I mean, her goal was to get healthy, but to get healthy enough where, I would hate to say it, but my guess was that she could go back to the things that she was comfortable doing or used to doing. Again, it's not to, you know, to be a judge of her choices, but these are the choices that, you know, that are real for all of us. And so again, you have to be realistic with yourself and understand, what are your goals. Are your goals to just be healthy enough where you don't experience any terminal illness or any sort of pain? Because you know, again, going back to food, if food is going to be part of the healing process and the changing of diet and all that, then we have to look at, like, how much am I willing to change my diet? So those are some of the things that you have to think about in terms of your goals. Now, one of the things I'm looking at as I look at my notes, you know, is a naturopath or a naturopathic doctor, because when you think about healing, you know, I like to think about healing in a traditional sense. And so one of the questions is a naturopathic doctor more aligned with a traditional healer? A traditional healer, somebody I think about in the bush, where basically predating hospitals, you know, the just our modern practice of looking at sickness and disease. So the thing is that we have to ask ourselves, or we have to, when we ask this question, is a naturopathic doctor a traditional healer? So that's just something to think about, because, you know, when I think about traditional healing, you know, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is the use of herbs. Traditional healing is definitely going to be connected with nature, because, again, you know, if you're living in an environment where you don't have a lot of things that we have in our modern world, like a hospital, you know, your traditional healer becomes almost invaluable resource. So traditional healer probably is going to use things like oracle. They're definitely going to use herbs. In terms of the diet, again, if you're in a more you know, rural community, or you're in a, you know, community where you're depending on basically what nature gives you, then your diet is probably going to be more aligned with, definitely aligned with your environment. And, you know, making dietary changes and things like that is not so much the case, because, you know, in our modern world, especially we live in the city, you know, it's a good thing and a not so good thing that we have so many choices. It's great because now we can turn this down. You know, it's great that we can we can have healthy choices, but then there could be not so healthy choices. So is a naturopathic doctor on the natural path? Well, I like to look at from my years of experiencing different people on the natural path route. There's really, I think it can be sectioned into two camps. One where the ones who, I would say the ones who are definitely connected on the natural or the nature's path is the one who definitely looks at diet first and foremost. Okay? One who is going to exhaust the dietary choices that ones make. You're going to look at, not only look at the present diet, but suggest or put them on a dietary plan first and foremost. And look to exhaust that before, even before supplements, and you know, other healing or you know, healthy alternatives to medicine, or I should say healthier alternatives to medicine, is looked at. We're going to definitely exhaust the diet first and foremost. And you know, I've done enough videos. I've done a number of videos on diet, and obviously being a raw food chef, it's very clear on the angle that I'm coming from. Okay, so nutrition, health, diet, nutrition, exercise, that's one camp of the naturopathic doctor. You know, okay, are you exercising? What is your diet? If your diet is this and your condition is this, then here's the dietary regimen for the next 100 days, or for the next 6 months. You know, these are the kinds of things that would be my advice to someone who is looking for some guidance, some direction. A naturopathic doctor who is going to exhaust those avenues before looking at other things that provide stimulation, as I like to call it. Because, you know, everything that we put into our bodies, especially internally, is going to stimulate our bodies in one direction or another. So looking at the whole naturopathic science, or we're looking at the definite, you know, someone who is going to, who we're going to look to get guidance from, is one who, and then also, you know, one who is also going to, not necessarily about what you eat, what you don't eat, but also one that is going to, you know, maybe even look at fasting as a possibility. You know, I mean, I talk about fasting, you know, ad nauseum. You know, fasting being the first medicine, you know, is fasting, because the body is a self-healing organism. You know, once we consider fasting, and we look at I mean, we can't talk about healing and not talk about fasting. So again, there's one camp, naturopathy, who understands, okay, number one, you're looking at diet, lifestyle, number one, and then when you start looking at treating those modalities, you're going to look at diet, you're going to look at things like fasting, and then look at the use of herbs in that sense. So, and then, you know, really, you know, another factor is, you know, typically the naturopaths that are in this category are definitely not taking insurance. I don't know anyone personally that is using or is advising their clients and their customer base in this way, and they're taking insurance. So normally when you're going to a naturopath, that's the first thing. That's one of the first questions. That'll kind of tell you what angle they're coming from. Is this one that is taking insurance, or they're not taking? Usually you pay out of pocket. Another way of saying it. Now let's look at the second camp of naturopathy. Now again, just coming off of what we we just spoke of in terms of paying out of pocket. Usually, your second camp of naturopathic doctors is one where they will be taking insurance. So let's talk about that for a minute, because when we look at insurance, we gotta there's what I call a medical mafia, and you have it's a network, where they're all in bed with each other, and they all basically are interrelated, interconnected, and one really kind of depends on the other. So you have the insurance companies, you have the pharmaceutical companies, you have the hospitals, and then with the pharmaceuticals, of course, you got vaccines, you got obviously things like antibiotics, and what's the other common thing? It's not coming to me, but again, you have basically someone who may call themselves a naturopath, but then from a business side, they may feel that they open up their possibilities for customers or for clients because they accept insurance. And then also people may be more comfortable with somebody who is going to consider using pharmaceutical drugs as an option. Now, let me say really quickly, again, this could be a good choice for you. And again, it starts back to what we talked about before. We look at your age, we look at your history, and we look at your goals. We look at those things, and we consider the fact that you just may not be ready to make the kind of dietary changes necessary in order to get real results. You may want to kind of straddle the fence and get somebody who's more natural inclined. However, they can write you a prescription. They can take your health insurance. And this is not a criticism or not, but this is just for to just really kind of present the whole picture when you're dealing with people and you're dealing with health professionals that may be guiding you one way or another. However, for the naturopaths in the second camp, I think it's really somewhat misleading to label yourself a true naturopath, someone who is supposed to, again, looking at the word, guide one on the natural path. Because one, even though you may be open to things like herbs, homeopathy, and making diet and lifestyle changes, most, if not all, doctors are going to be open definitely to diet and lifestyle changes. Their knowledge and their advice may be limited. However, they see the importance of it nonetheless. And the thing is that you want to question, and you want to, I think the biggest thing is, to come away with this video is to, just like when if I could use this analogy of, sending, I have children, when you send your child to school, their teacher is not their only educator. You as a parent are the first educator. So to draw an analogy with that, you are your first healer, not your naturopath or whoever that person may be. You are ultimately responsible for your health and your healing. Not a naturopath, not a Western medical doctor, you yourself. So, really to sum up what we've discussed, again, Your first group of naturopaths is one that's going to be really your true naturopaths. One who is going to look at diet, nutrition, lifestyle. And then there's usually going to be one also that you will have to pay out of pocket. And I don't want to say that's an unfortunate thing because, once you get into the system in terms of, maybe you've invested, maybe you've paid years into your insurance. I know now with some of the political policies with Obamacare, it's almost like insurance is becoming a mandatory thing. And especially if you send your children to school, again, they're going to, more oftentimes than not, require some kind of insurance, health insurance. I mean, health insurance is a good thing. However, I wrote an article years ago talking about insurance and how, again, insurance can also somewhat lead you down the wrong path, potentially, because if you're paying into a policy, you're going to, it's just like if, let's say I'm your, you're going to like pay me, or you're going to pay any kind of insurance. It's like, it's just human nature. You're going to want to collect. Yeah, insurance is one of those things, it's like kind of a necessary evil, and you pay it, but you really don't want to have to use it. But if you get sick, and you've been paying this thing for months, years, and some of these premiums can be really high. And then, I mean, it's not even like, some of these things come with co-pays and all kinds of stuff. Now, if it's something where you're in a hospital for, you have something where, you have to, your medical bills can go into the thousands or the tens of thousands, then obviously, you you've paid into a good health insurance policy, then obviously you've done the wise thing, you've done the smart thing. However, for those of us who really are taking our own health in our own hand, who are our own healers, and where we really feel and we honestly know that won't be an option, like that, those kind of things. Yes, anything can happen to anyone, but if we play out the probabilities and the odds, we understand that is a very unlikely scenario. Especially things like, I think the things that can really be costly is things definitely like surgery. So again, surgery just don't have, or the demise, the things that lead to surgery happen over an extended period of time, which again is connected back to your diet and your lifestyle. So again, by paying insurance, it can really kind of take you in this path where you're looking to use those services that insurance will pay for. Okay, like surgery, like an extended hospital visit, things of that nature that will be very, very costly if you had to pay out of pocket. But at the same time, when you don't pay insurance, it's almost like, leaving you with no option but to be healthy. So how about that insurance? Basically where, again, being in a hospital for an extended period of time, being, having to succumb to surgery or to any other extended Western medical practice, that's not an option. I also want to get into, having young children. Let's get into. I want to talk about this kind of a third category, or this kind of like, because I'm talking about ourselves as, fully matured adults, whether we be elders or whether we be young adults. This is definitely going to to sway your decision, or to to guide you on your path in terms of making a good decision that's best for you and your family. Now, one of the things that, when we look at our pediatricians, having young children, the question is like, okay, you just had a child, or you're going to have children. Your pediatrician becomes extremely important. And again, this question now goes to another level, because I mentioned the vaccines, and really that's where now the vaccine argument, or the question of vaccines, really comes into focus, because now if you have a pediatrician or a naturopathic pediatrician, again, this is somebody whose focus should be, if we had to put them in category 1, where diet and nutrition is the focus, now you should be going to someone who understands breastfeeding, who understands midwifery, who understands the nutrition that the mom should have, all of the things that that will make the difference for that young person's life. Typically, I remember with my first child, and we were going to someone who labeled themselves as a naturopathic doctor, who didn't take insurance, but yet, there was a very small part of her clientele that didn't take vaccines. So, I'd find myself, again, I'm looking at this person as the quote-unquote expert. However, we would be having discussions on why I'm choosing not to vaccinate. So again, this is what I'm talking about. And the thing is so this is even for somebody, because the thing is like, for a pediatrician, even though they may not be taking insurance and getting the perks and benefits of being aligned with the medical mafia, this can be a person who, this is a person that's going to make money off of giving vaccines, and is going to, and again, if you're trusting this person and seeing this person as somebody who is naturally inclined, you're going to be more trusting of this person, because if you know and you feel that this person is aligned with your natural values, your health values, you're going to trust that this person is familiar with the research, is familiar, has the knowledge and the experience and the know-how. It's like, okay, yes, and I believe in the, that regardless of where you stand, you understand like this person is going to administer vaccines, and then that could be a fatal decision. So that's one thing. Another thing, like I mentioned, again, we all know that, if you're going the natural route and you're having children, the most ultimate practice is the practice of breastfeeding. For a mother to transfer her essence, her soul, it's more than just the nourishment. It's the skin on skin. So, having someone, if you're going to, either is going to send you to a breastfeeding consultant, because breastfeeding, again, every child is different, every mother is different, every human body in terms of the physical anatomy is different. So to go to a breastfeeding consultant will be either the naturopath will be the breastfeeding consultant, or they will have the knowledge and the know-how to send you to someone that they know within their network that is a breastfeeding consultant. Again, this could be the difference between a very healthy, thriving baby and a baby whose health may be compromised for the rest of their lives. That first year of life is going to determine all the other years of their lives. So again, having the choice for your children, especially if your decision in terms of sending them to school, and even if you homeschool, you still want to have someone who has that experience, who has the knowledge, who sees babies. And the other thing too is that there are people out there who are full-time pediatricians. That makes a difference as well. Are they, because there are pediatricians who see everybody. Well, there are doctors who will also wear their pediatrician hat. Let me say it like that. And again, these people may not have the knowledge and the insight and they won't have the knowledge and the insight and experience versus the person who only sees babies or young people. Again, this is just common sense. So the biggest thing, as we look at naturopath, and the question, we go back to the question: should you see a naturopath? Well, again, I can't answer the question for you on this video cast. Again, it starts with looking at your goals, your age, your health history, what you're dealing with. If you have cancer, or you're dealing with some terminal illness, definitely having a naturopath and also a conventional doctor may be the best route. Again, every situation, every person is so unique in their own way. It would be ridiculous for me to say, okay, you should see this person or see this person. But what I will say is that the ultimate is you have to, just like with the analogy I used with sending your children to school, their teachers are not their only teachers. And in life, when you go to whoever you go to, it ultimately becomes up to you. You have to take responsibility. And one of the things that I've learned also, even in my own personal experience, is that if there's something that doesn't vibrate with you, that your naturopath is seeing, is guiding you or requesting that you do, don't be afraid to challenge it. Again, no matter what titles, no matter how many letters a person has behind their name or in front of their name, they were once students. They were once people who were trained. You don't know the level of their training. You don't know again, you only know what they're telling you. And if you're coming with a cloud of uncertainty and you don't know, you have to question everything. Question their background, question their training, and question their advice. Again, it is up to you, and you ultimately are responsible for yourself and for your family. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you are challenging the person who is advising you, if that person is really good and is really open, because even myself, you may be listening to this video. Yes, I've gone through a lot of years of experience and training and all of this stuff that's allowed me to be on this side. However, I am still very much the student. I am still very much the person that is open to change, that is open to learning something new. So, whoever you are going to should be open to challenge, should be open to criticism. That will let you know that this person is somebody who is beyond their ego and saying like, "Oh, I'm the doctor. I'm the authority." none of us are. You know, we're all students, and anybody who is, you know, who is definitely anybody who is not willing, no matter what their accomplishments are, no matter what their achievements may, you know, have been. You know, if it's something that doesn't vibrate with you, and it's something that you bring into question, and they're not willing to accept or to hear anything you have to say or any other suggestion, then I would run fast away from that person. Because again, you know, this is a, you know, for all of us, no matter where we are, it's a lifelong journey of learning, growing, experiencing. You know, so that's the main message of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to mention a couple of things that we have coming up before I end the video. We do have our retreat next February. If you're interested in becoming a raw food chef, if you're looking to increase your health and vitality, or if you're just looking for a healthy vacation, this is definitely something you want to consider. You can go to my Facebook page. I don't know if I have anything on my website, but there's definitely a link there's a link of the flyer which gives the itinerary, and which can answer basically, you know, answer any of your questions. You know, and again, we'll be in at Jackie's on the Reef in, you know, outside of Negro, Jamaica, for, you know, and I teach 2 classes a day. You know, people ask me all the time, when am I teaching classes? So in Jamaica, you know, and the best where we're using locally, you know, we're using the local tropical food. You know, and what I do is I bring really the best of both worlds. Here in the U.S., we're able to get things like nuts, seeds, quote unquote superfoods. I don't like that term per se, but you know, some of the exotic foods that may be from all over the world, versus the local fresh tropical produce, the fruits and the vegetables that you cannot get here. So what I do is I bring a number of things that either you can't get from there or that are very, very expensive, and I'm bringing those things together with the local, you know, tropical produce that sometimes you can find here, but more oftentimes you can't. And again, it's just a way to kind of pull the plug. You know, I, for one, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and just telling him that you know, I follow this lifestyle, but I do enjoy some of the benefits of living in a city. You know, Washington, D.C. is really a smaller city. It definitely has a big city influence, given that it is the nation's capital. And, you know, with all the outlying, you know, suburban areas around it, it definitely makes it a larger city. But geographically, it is very small compared to, like, New York City, for example. So I definitely enjoy the stimulation of the city. However, I live a very natural lifestyle, which can seem to go against the whole city. But I do appreciate the time that and this is why, you know, the retreat becomes all that much more important, is because, you know, we do have to disconnect from the computers and the cell phones and the Wi-Fi and the environmental exhaust from, you know, the cars and just the energy. You know, it's important for us to periodically, you know, as part of our health regimen. You know, I mean, again, we eat a certain way, we exercise, we may have a spiritual practice that centers us, but you know, along with that, we need to disconnect from this very stimulating environment. Again, it can be very it can be fulfilling on some level. You know, to be in a city. I mean, I love, I mean, I understand, like, I mean, because basically the main benefit for someone like myself is to be able to have a business. So being in the city allows me to have this business where I offer, such a special service that I know is truly helping people and potentially changing people's lives. Um, so that's what, that's some of the benefit of being in a place like this. Nonetheless, I more than anyone understand the importance of going to, closer to the equator, being in a more balanced environment where it's, again, and we look at the food, even a lot of the food I eat is not local, because I follow a raw vegan diet, a lot of tropical fruits, and I've grown here. Basically, the food I eat every day, coconuts, not, well, I consider them local because they're from Florida, but, I'm not, like, I can't walk outside and climb up a coconut tree. But, these are the kinds of things that I definitely feel that human beings were designed to do, that is truly our natural environment. So, again, consider that. Retreat is in February. We do also have some local events. We'll be doing our usual festivals. We'll be at the Baltimore Soul Vegan Fest this weekend, or this coming weekend, August 20th. So definitely check that out. And then we'll be in Richmond for Happy Natural Day. So I always enjoy, I think this is my 4th or 5th year being a part of that festival. So I will be speaking at that event as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then I'll also be doing a workshop on, one of the other hats that I've worn is one of, I guess, in the most simple terms, is an investor. I mean, obviously I'm an entrepreneur and businessman, but, I've also been, traded stocks online for myself mainly, and one of the things that I definitely believe in is investing in gold and silver. So I will be giving a workshop this fall. I don't have any of the details, but if you're local here, I definitely will encourage you to come out and support me in that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed doing it. Enjoy the rest of your summer. And any helpful comments, critiques, whatever, post them below. I'll respond. Or you can definitely check out my Facebook. Like I said, I'm on Facebook. I got a couple of different pages under Kepper Anew or Kepper's Raw Food Juice Bar. And thanks again. Till next time. Peace.